Alright, what's up, y'all? I hope y'all are well. I've been okay. I've kind of been lacking around, like slacking, not making a YouTube video, kind of being a bum. So I figured I'd make one. Just a couple things I want to talk about, actually, that have just been kind of sitting on my mind, weighing on them recently. Number one, unemployed again, you know? So that kind of sucks. But I have a job interview today. So hopefully that goes well. Hopefully I kill it. It's for a really nice company. I really like them. I was doing a contract with them. Contract expired yesterday, so luckily I have an interview today, so hopefully there isn't too much turnaround time, but if there is, it is what it is. You know, God has a plan. And yeah, so actually the topic of the day's video, you probably read by the title, you know, it's just something that I feel strongly about recently. I feel really like convicted, so I guess I'll just hop right into it. So basically this came from doom scrolling Instagram reels, you know, as you do. And I came across this video of this woman just getting ready to, you know, go out and about her day. And, you know, she's putting on her wig, and unfortunately she had like alopecia and some pretty bad acne. But she was getting her makeup on, putting on her wig, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then you open the comments, and it's a bunch of chuds, bro, like actual chud losers who are like flaming the hell out of her, bro, like saying like catfish of hell, blah blah blah, like things of that nature. And bro, when I read that, man, like I don't know what it is with this next generation where they just think that they can get away with being like fucking assholes, bro. Like that's what they are. You know, pardon my language, like I try not to swear, but that's what they are, bro. They're being actual assholes to people who they don't even know. They don't know their life story, and it's really just like it weighs on me, bro, because it's sad that this next generation of humans are just like being shaped by these awful role models, bro. Because I was thinking about it, like, you know, I got to thinking, just how does this even happen? And it's just sad that, you know, in today's society, the merit and value of you as a person is based on your appearance, like physical attributes. And I think that just so sad. It's not based on, you know, the actual merit of your character. It's just based on physical attributes. They, number one, you had no hand in deciding. That's God's decision. And the way you look, that's God's work. Yeah, so it's God's work, and then you can't really do anything to change it. You know, everyone has their own insecurities. Everyone has their own things that, you know, they don't particularly like about themselves, like physically. And, you know, I think that's a normal part of the human experience. I think we all have insecurities. I think we all want to look better. I think we all want to do better. And I think a lot of circumstances can prevent us from doing that, whether that's depression, social anxiety, whatever it is, you know. Maybe you're too socially anxious to go to the gym, like you're scared of being looked at, bro. Like that's a thing I struggled with, and it was only till I started going with friends that I really broke out of that. And, you know, or maybe it's just like depression, like you just can't find a reason to get out of bed, you know, like sure you're living, but what's the point of getting out of bed, you know, like you're not the person you want to be. And I think anyway, regardless, I think that's a normal part of the human experience. What's not a normal part of the human experience is to then have people online who validate those fears by saying, you know, these rude comments. If you try to make a comment about you being body positive or self-loving, you know, like this woman who, you know, had these features that aren't the typical beauty standard, and her insecurities and fears are validated by these low life losers who, by the way, sit on the fucking internet leaving Instagram comments. That's how I know you're kind of a chud, is if you leave Instagram comments. If you leave Instagram comments on public accounts and it's not something like wholesome or like something related to you at all, it just like you're just kind of leaving comments to leave comments, like that's how I know you're a chud. Like if it's not something that's hobby related, or, you know, if it's not something hobby related or something interest related, or, you know, something about the sport, maybe you have like input to provide, you're just leaving comments for the sake of getting a top comment, like top like comment, bro, you're a chud. End of story. Like you're a loser. And like to me, like you are a loser. And, you know, I use the term loser loosely because I think, you know, I think a lot of people define loser as something that like it just, you are one. This is a sidebar, but you are a loser and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think you can have loser behavior and then fix that behavior, you know? Like I think you can go from being a loser, someone who acts like a loser, to someone who, you know, is like actually a positive person on the people around them. For example, like I think when I was younger, I think I was a loser when I was younger. I'll just be 100%. Like I was lame. I tried to put other people down for laughs, and, you know, that's ultimately unfulfilling, and I grew from that. And do I think I'm a loser now? No, I don't think I put other people down for jokes. You know, it's different if it's banter with your friends, but people that I don't know very well or don't know at all, I'm not going to put them down just to make someone else laugh. I think if you do that, you're just a loser sheep. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, yeah, so these chuds were just in the comment section just flaming her, and it's just sad, man, because I think that the next generation, you know, I'm a little bit too old to be part of this generation. I'm about 5 years too late, or too early. Sorry, I'm about 5 years too early to be influenced by it. But I think like when you have this next generation being influenced by guys like Clavicular, you know, who feel like your merit as a human being is solely based in your looks and your attractiveness, I just think that's a slippery slope. You know, he's someone who calls himself, before he was a looks max or a subhuman, someone who calls other people, you know, foids or subhumans or low tier or like whatever it is, like the looks maxing lingo, you know. And you know, it's fun, like the lingo's funny, like don't get me wrong, like it's funny to joke about like, oh, I'm a low tier normie, you know, like who's really taking that serious. But it's sad that like the young people are so easily influenced by the way people talk, the things that people do, that they see if you can't be like him, if you can't fix yourself, if you can't, you know, fucking thumb pull, if you can't bone smash, shit like that. And obviously that's very extreme. I don't think a lot of people are actually bone smashing anyway. I think there's a lot of people who are aware of that, even if they're young. But just the fact that it's these guys that are just always propped up on Twitter and social media who have this grasp over the next generation. You know, for my generation, probably about 5 years ago, I think that was when Andrew Tate was on the come up. But it was also like the same kind of story. It was a guy who promoted, you know, I don't think masculinity is necessarily something that is bad. I don't think I'm not a big believer in toxic masculinity. Is it lame to not show a caring side? Yeah, I absolutely think that. I think as a person, like grow into adulthood, as you grow, even as a man, as you grow into fatherhood, you're supposed to show care. You're supposed to show empathy. You're supposed to show emotion. Like, for example, if you have a kid, like that's the greatest thing to happen to you as a parent, as a man. Like you have this child who you can shape and form to be something great. And I think it's cool to show emotion as a man. And you know, maybe in terms of toxic masculinity in that way, where you don't think men should show emotions, I think that's a valid argument. But I don't think masculinity is anything inherently bad. I think men are providers for their family, and you know, I think there are pressures that are put onto men that are just. I think, you know, men are supposed to be breadwinners, and now this is a whole different like story. You know, maybe it's unfair of me to say these things on the basis that, you know, I'm a man, so I'm projecting my pressure, but it's just the way I feel. But you have these people who do it in such a way where if you aren't this or you aren't that, then you aren't worth anything. And I think that is just so sad. If you don't make money, if you live in the matrix, like Andrew Tate used to say, I think that's just so sad, because like your life isn't defined by what someone on the internet says, or your life isn't defined by how you look. Your life isn't defined by your emotions, and your life isn't defined by your occupation. And when you have these people that try to peddle that, it puts so much pressure on this younger generation who now feel as though they have to change or they are just fucked, when that's not even the case. You know, it's okay to work a 9 to 5. It's okay to work a 9 to 5 and go play flag football on Tuesdays. It's okay to join these fun little rec leagues that you want to join. Maybe you're not a multi-sport athlete and you just want to go out and have fun. It's okay to do that. It's okay to live a humble lifestyle. You don't need the watches. You don't need the clothes. You don't need the cars. Those are all things that are worldly and things that can't be taken with you. Even when we die, circle it back to your appearance. These are things that, like, when you die, your physical body is no more. And, you know, and that's not to say it's not important to put time and, you know, effort into your health. It absolutely is. Your body is a temple. God built your body, and you shouldn't mistreat your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should eat the right foods. You should be active. But to define your worth and your value based on that is just a disservice to you as a person, as a spirit. You know, it's killing the spirit. And I think this new upcoming, this social like content creation revolution, where these things are just so prevalent, you know. And obviously it's the very extreme examples. Like I'm sure Clavicular, like is probably an okay dude. Like I don't know much about him, but I just know the narrative that he peddles. I just think that like he's created this world where like you need to look smack. If you're bald, it's not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're getting older, like don't age, bro. Don't fucking age, or else you're gonna lose all your worth. It's just something that has been weighing on my mind recently, because I think I can also get sucked into those pressures of just like, I have to be somebody that I get sucked into those pressures where it's like, I need to be somebody that, is attractive, somebody that is athletic, somebody is this, that, the third, somebody who's a man, somebody who doesn't show emotion, somebody who's stoic. But this just simply isn't the case. A lot of people just get that confused. I think, and it's just sad that this next generation is having so much pressure put on them by these people. Your value as a person is not based on your appearance. Your value isn't even based on works. Your value is based on your spirit. God made everyone capable of being saved, and God made everyone worthy, and God made everyone worth it, no matter the situation, no matter your appearance, no matter what things you may struggle with. But yeah, that was just something that was on my mind after reading all those comments from a bunch of kids who are just like actual losers. And it's sad too, by the way, that there are actual like 20-some-year-olds in there. Like, I get it if you're like 14, 15, like I can't be too mad, like you just haven't matured. If you're like 20 doing that shit, bro, like you really need to evaluate your life. So serious. Like you need to evaluate yourself. You need to check into church. You need to go to church. You need to learn about the word of God, and you need to just become spiritually healthy, bro, because you are just like sad. But either way, like I'm judging, whatever, I'm a hypocrite, whatever. But I don't know, it's just something that was on my mind recently. I'm an absolute failure at surf. I should be making a Minecraft video relatively soon, or a Raiders video, who knows, bro. Like I'm really just going with the flow. I'm really just here, bro. I'm just with the flow. I'm